This is Shelby Deep, and we are the owners of Wedding Rescue. This evening we are here tonight with Joyce Schaefer, relationship counseling expert. She's going to be joining us this evening to answer some questions that couples may have with their big day on the horizon. So that's what we're going to be doing this evening.
So we're going to start answering some questions really soon here. If you have any that you want us to answer, just type in a question below in the comments and we'll answer it as best we can and as fast as we can. And Joyce is going to tell a little bit about herself and her expertise.
Okay, well, thank you, you two, for inviting me onto your live event. I'm really happy to be here. I always like talking about what I do, so this is pretty cool for me. I'm a life skills coach and I specialize in relationship counseling. And I took my training about 20 years ago. And the training that I took was all focused on actually helping people who were incarcerated, helping them understand how the trauma from their childhoods created the emotional issues in their lives and landed them in the place that they were. For me personally, I didn't end up working in the prison setting. Instead, I took the information that I learned and tried to really decode my own unhealthy relationship patterns. So I have a pretty bad track record when it comes to relationships. But given everything that I've learned, I've broken my negative patterns, and today I help couples address those issues and kind of put them on the right track.
Awesome.
Oh, great.
So while we wait for more people to join us, we actually have some giveaways. So we have this little cute emergency kit. I don't know if you guys can see this. It says Wedding Rescue Emergency Kit, and it is the cutest thing ever. And what does it have in it, Jillian?
We have all kinds of supplies for your wedding day for something that can go wrong. So the basics, buttons, band-aids, nail polish remover, Q-tips, a sewing kit, anything you could ever imagine. Any type of emergency that could go wrong, there is something in that kit that is going to be able to help you out of it.
Yeah, and so we're giving one of these away today, so all you have to do is share and comment done. We're also giving away, so this is pretty cool, we're also giving away a dream honeymoon or vacation. So to enter to win, just share and comment done, and I think that's going to be really exciting.
Very cool.
So, yeah, so we're just going to tell you a little bit about Wedding Rescue now and why we kind of came together with Joyce and why we're doing this today.
So for those of you who don't know, Wedding Rescue, we are a company that specializes in wedding emergencies. So we help couples on or before their wedding day when things don't go quite as according to plan. So vendor cancellations, no-shows, unforeseen events that might happen to a couple as they're planning their day. We step in and we alleviate the problem and help them by connecting them with the proper vendor and fixing the situation. We also help couples plan their wedding, so couples can come to our website, which is weddingrescue.com. And on our website, we have vendors in every city and every category that you could ever possibly need for your wedding day. These vendors all offer discounts to our couples as well. And if you're a member and you're using our site, our emergency service is free to you. So as a bride, you're going to save hundreds of dollars on your wedding with our amazing vendors, and also our emergency service is free to you. So should anything go wrong, we're going to be there, a phone call away to step in and help you.
Awesome. So we're going to start answering questions. So we actually have a question here already, and it is, what do you do if there is conflicting ideas for the wedding, but you have talked it over multiple times and no one will budge?
Okay, well, that's a very good question. And in the work I do with couples, I always talk about the importance of finding a middle ground. So, you know, when we're all in agreement about an issue, everything's fine. We don't have to work through anything. We just agree. But when people are on different pages, so they have different priorities or they value different things, so they're not in agreement, it takes a lot of work and effort to find what I call a happy middle ground. So that might be, okay, getting really clear with what one person wants, and then getting really clear with what the other person wants. And now both can't have their way, right? Mm-hmm. So then it's about really communicating through and trying to find that middle ground where, now this is the key part, where both people are feeling like, yes, they might have had to compromise, but the compromise feels okay. Right. Like, it's not like you're really compromising to the point where it doesn't feel good. Mm-hmm. You're getting to that point where, you know what, I can live with that. So really, I think both people have to budge a little bit.
Right.
And when you'll know you found that middle ground, when you know you're feeling like, yeah, okay, I can live with this. But it does require a lot of effective communication.
Right. What about having some sort of maybe like third-party mediator to kind of help?
Well, I mean, certainly I would think that that's an option if things are really difficult. But I would think, for me, I'm like, okay, if you need a mediator, then that's telling me you don't have two willing parties.
Red
that
flag.
are,
Red flag.
yeah. So the idea is that you know, I always say to my couples, when your partner's happiness and what they need is as important as your own, then it makes resolving things easier, right? So it's not always to cave and give in. It is about, you know, finding that middle ground and both moving in a direction that feels good for both.
Awesome. So before we go to the next question, if any of you new people joining us, we are actually giving a giveaway for this wedding emergency kit that has all the essentials that you'll need on your wedding day for all the just in case stuff. And we're also giving away a honeymoon or vacation. And all you have to do is share the video and comment done to be entered into the contest. So our next question, we actually had email in because we asked a couple of you guys to email in if you had any questions beforehand so that we had some questions. And one of the questions we had was, what are the two main qualities needed to resolve any difficulty in a relationship?
Right, okay, so that's a really good one. And I think if you have those two qualities, any problem really can be resolved. So the first one is that you're both committed to the relationship, okay? So you're both choosing that relationship every day. You're not like, there's not like in the back of your mind an exit plan. Like, you know, if things get tough, I can just exit. So you're both really committed. You both want to be in the relationship. So commitment, number one. The other thing is that you have the ability to look in the mirror. And so what I mean by that is I can look at myself and say, okay, what behaviors, what kind of challenges do I have that I may be bringing to the relationship that I need to change? Because I found that when you have either one or both people who really can't say, you know what, this is how, you know, maybe I'm not a good listener, or maybe, you know, when you don't have that ability to look in the mirror and say, yeah, I think these behaviors might be causing problems, you really can't resolve those difficulties. Because what I've realized is in every challenge, it takes two people. So it's kind of like your 50% and my 50%. So I can only be responsible for my part, and if you're responsible for your part, then we're golden, you know? But, so those are the two things, commitment and the ability to say, I'm sorry, I did this wrong, and this is maybe how I can do things differently.
Oh, that's really great advice.
Yeah, I never actually even thought of that, like having two kind of, yeah, that's a really good question.
Yeah, because any problem really, when you think about it, can be resolved if both people are saying, okay, well, what can I do to make things better? It's like you're rolling up your sleeves, you're digging in, and you're wanting a solution. So I think anything can be addressed with those qualities.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, once again, just going to repeat it. We have a giveaway for our emergency kit, and we also have another giveaway for, what is it?
Honeymoon.
Honeymoon.
How can you forget?
Yeah. So all you have to do is share this video and also comment done to be entered into it. So the next question we have, let's see, is what is the most common reason, let's see, what did they put? Hold on. What is the most common reason most relationships fail? That's in typos, but that's okay.
Okay, so the reason, in my opinion, why relationships fail is, and this kind of goes all the way back to my counseling model, which we probably won't go into a lot of, but a lot of people go into the relationship thinking that their partner is going to make them happy. Now, everyone kind of knows that you can't do that, like money can't buy you happiness, or your partner can't make you happy. But really, what I found is because of old wiring and old conditioning, people do that. And you know, it really does go back to unresolved emotional issues in childhood. Now, I know that's pretty deep for this conversation, so we don't need to go that deep, but here's the thing to keep in mind. I always say that what you needed emotionally and didn't get from your childhood, say from your parents or whatever, is exactly the thing you're really needing and attempting to get from your partner.
Right.
So I work with a lot of people who've had, you know, their relationship is in trouble. And when I come in, I've got this set of eyes that says, okay, let's look at the root issue. Let's really get to the bottom of the thing. And what I've always been able to do is connect the dots to what the problems that are going on today are always connected to the past traumas, to the past, and trauma, don't get hung up on that word, but the unresolved emotional issues in the past. So when you're finding those hot topics that you can't communicate through, you know, whether it's sex or money or whatever, usually there's some emotional deafness that's going on, and it's connected to emotional issues in the past. So whatever it is you're thinking or that you didn't get emotionally, and are, you know, that's likely what you're trying to get from your partner, which is really going to cause all kinds of problems. So that's something to really pay attention to and give some thought to. So like, what might that be? You know, because none of us escape our childhood without some sort of emotional kind of challenges. So that's a big one to look for.
The most common relation. And so I'm curious to know, what would you say is the most common things couples fight about?
You know what? It just varies. It varies. Each couple has a set of their own hot topics. So for one,
it's probably the same every time too.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. It's the same one. It's the same one or two over time. And what they describe is this sense of like being in the twilight zone. Like they're saying, like, I'm trying to communicate this and I'm feeling like I'm doing a good job, but they're not picking up on it. They're not connecting to it.
Someone said money.
Yeah, I was going to say money probably is a big one.
So when you think of money and all of the emotional stuff that can be around money, like security and safety, now, you know, explore that a little bit. Chances are that person had maybe scarcity issues in their family growing up, and that created that sense of fear. So then when a money issue presents itself in the relationship, that person is now reacting as this scared kid who doesn't really know how to communicate effectively.
And we probably see that a lot actually when people have weddings because they're spending so much. Right?
Which couples get really nervous around, especially grooms. They get nervous when they see their bride wants a really expensive dress or a really expensive wedding. Those conversations start to happen a lot more.
Yeah, so the tension kind of goes up.
And it could even be that question that was posed earlier. It's like not being able to agree on the wedding thing. Well, maybe the budget's an issue, and maybe that could be stemming
back. Maybe that's the underlying issue rather than, you know, some of the superficial stuff.
Right. So I always think, go to the emotional piece. So again, what did I need and didn't get emotionally? That likely could be what I'm trying to get from my partner, which ultimately, in my opinion, is why relationships fail.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I see some new people have joined us. So I just want to remind you that we are giving away this emergency kit, this pink emergency kit for your wedding day that has all the essentials that you need. And we're also giving away a honeymoon or vacation. So all you have to do is share this video and comment "done" to be entered. So I see some new people coming here. I just want to say there's April. Hi, April. How are you doing? She has a question for us. And I see another Lori. Hi, Lori. Okay, April says, how can someone get their fiance more involved in the planning of the wedding without causing problems or issues?
We know grooms love to help.
Well, okay, so again, without knowing the whole story and what might be playing out underneath, so the emotional issues, you know, I'm working with a couple who the woman has a really difficult time making her needs a priority.
Right.
So she has a hard time voicing the things that she needs. So you know, if you really are wanting your fiance to be a part of the wedding planning, but yet, you know, you're not confident in expressing your needs, then that could be an issue. But so always keep in mind there could be underlying emotional parts. But in terms of, you know, asking that fiance to be a part of the planning, it would be to me about really expressing that it's important. that we do this together. It's important to me that I get the fiance's feedback and the reasons why, and to ask for what you need. And again, going back to that finding the middle ground, so the fiance probably doesn't want anything to do with it because it's not his priority or a value, but then it's about, okay, I'll move, I'll do my part to move to find that middle ground. So I know I'm hearing my fiance wants me to be a part of this, so now I'll do what I can to hear her out.
So back to what you're saying about the compromise again.
Right.
Yeah.
My thought is most people, most guys, giving them stuff that they would be, more comfortable with, like maybe picking DJ or band
or food. I know that was my husband's favorite thing, planning our wedding.
Delegating that sort of stuff that doesn't, that may actually they, want to do possibly.
Right.
And then I also find, like, even in, like, relationships that I've seen, it's also about asking the fiance, having communication, because one person, may ask the other person, they say, do whatever you want, right?
Yeah, right.
Or I'm okay with that, I'm good with that, that's what I want. But then, do they really want that?
Yeah.
Right? And so, sometimes you think you're having that conversation and they're agreeing with you, but is that really what they want?
Right. And there's only so much you can do in terms of really effective asking questions is a really good way. And if you know that is that person's pattern, to just kind of be really passive, to maybe just call them out on it a bit. It's like, I find it hard to believe that you don't actually have any preferences, and maybe, or who knows, maybe it's a difficulty in making a decision. So putting a couple of ideas in front of them, it takes some creativity to evoke sometimes from people what they need and want.
I think it goes back to just being aware of your spouse and or fiance, and just being aware and making sure you accommodate and just don't like steamroll them over, right? And just knowing your partner and working with it. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's awesome. I see a couple more people have joined us. That's awesome. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Jessica. So I just want to remind everybody that we're giving this emergency kit away, and we're also giving away a dream vacation or honeymoon
for one lucky couple.
Yeah. Woo! And all you have to do is share the video and comment done. So we have a couple more questions here. That's awesome. You guys are great. Let's see. Amanda says, how can someone manage stress the week before their wedding?
That's a good one.
Yeah. I find lots of people are stressed. We get phone calls all the time, like week before, and it's just chaos. And
Right. So I think some of the just kind of typical stress management things would be, if making a list helps you, so you actually, see all of the things that need to be done. Because sometimes if it's just rolling around in your head, that can be really stressful. So really make a list, have a look and see if there's anything that you can get other people to help you on. So delegate is a good part. And then just explore, question, like, what is it that's causing you the stress? Is it the worry that things are going to flop? Are you having cold feet? Like, really get clear, like, what is it? And when you identify a fear, say it's a fear that there'll be a problem, and I don't know, something, you guys know the things that can go wrong with weddings. Yes. So then it's all about that, go through that exercise of, is it a realistic fear or is it an unrealistic fear? So a realistic fear is, I'm being chased by a bear in the woods. That's pretty realistic. Yeah. An unrealistic fear is, okay, well, I've got everything ready for the wedding, but what if something goes wrong? So how realistic is that? Like, if you've got all your bases covered and if you've got the planning taken care of, chances are that's not really a realistic fear. So getting really clear with, stress, it could potentially be afraid of something. So what might that be? And just kind of go from there. Is it realistic or unrealistic? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I want to do two things before we move on to the next question. First is, I'm going to actually put a link in the email. We actually have a checklist. So this will be great to add to what you said about having a checklist. And this checklist includes everything. I think it's almost 4 or 5 pages. Like, it goes by each month. There's every single month and what you should be doing, and it spreads it out nicely so that you're not doing everything at once or at the last minute.
Yep.
And that really helps with stress, because if you leave everything to the last minute, that's where things can go wrong. There's problems. That's when you really feel stressed, is when you leave everything and then you don't have that checklist to help you, and also help you think of things that you may not have thought of, right? Also, the second thing is, I was going to say something. No, I forgot. So there's the checklist. And what were you saying before? You're saying...
well, stress management.
Oh, stress. Yes, thank you. Stress. That's what Wedding Rescue does. That's really what we're here for. We're here to alleviate that stress. There's stuff that happens that, you can't control, unfortunately. Although you may think you picked amazing vendors, there's stuff that could happen, like we've had venues burned down, people get in car accidents. Those things, unfortunately, even though you may have the best vendors in the entire world, that stuff can happen and you can't control it. So we find that we actually alleviate a lot of stress for people, because they don't have to worry about that stuff. If something does happen, they have us just in case. And it's really nice. And if they buy our membership, it's nice as well, because it's free and you get discounts on like all of our vendors. You can save thousands of dollars, and all of our vendors are vetted. So that's another thing, is having the security that you've picked the right vendor, that they're not gonna not show up, or they're just gonna run away with your deposit, right? So that's another important thing, is making sure you pick really good vendors, and that helps alleviate a lot of stress as well. I feel, yeah.
Cool. Absolutely.
So awesome. Oh, and okay, before I answer this question, again, I see some more new people. So to enter to win this contest, to win this emergency kit for your wedding, just comment below done, and also share the video, or that, I did that backwards. Share the video and then comment done. And also we have another contest, actually. It is for
giving away a honeymoon or a vacation package to one lucky couple or bride. So share the video and comment done.
Awesome. Okay, so we have another question. I think we only have time for maybe 2 more questions. So I have an email. We'll do an email one, and also one of the comments somebody has done. So let's go to, somebody commented done. Thanks, Jamie. Okay, so Jessica says, what is one tip you would give to engaged couples to take into their marriage?
Okay, so the one tip, I think really just kind of be aware of what your triggers are. So things that are upsetting to you. So you'll notice a pattern, like we said earlier, those hot topics. Is it sex? Is it money? What is it? Quality time, and really get clear if there could be more issues emotionally that need to be looked at. But I think
maybe also if they're on the same level, because your issues may be different than your partner's, right? Your issues may be about money, and his might be about sex.
Right, exactly.
So, if you're not on the same level, that also can contribute to it, because you're fighting about something he doesn't even care about.
Right, and that's actually what I do find is my particular triggers and issues are not shared by my partners, and so that's why those hot topics occur, because he doesn't have a clue why that's so important to me, and I don't have a clue why it's so important to me, because it's linked to all this stuff from the past. So I think just be really kind of aware of what are those hot topics, those triggers, those things that really cause you to get emotionally worked up about, and try not to put that blame on your partner, and just go introspective and say, okay, how is this about me and my part, and what I can do to prevent that from harming my relationship.
Have you ever heard of, there's a book called, I think it's The 7 Languages of Love?
Love Languages.
The Love Languages?
Yeah.
Would you say that's a good...
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's anytime you can get an understanding of yourself and what you need in a relationship, it's always helpful, because I think people are, mismatched, or not mismatched, but maybe don't have the same love languages. And so, I might be really, really wanting, what's one of them? It's thoughtful words or whatever. I might really, really want that, but my partner doesn't value it. So then I'm feeling frustrated, like, why isn't my partner telling me all these nice things, right? So that's definitely a cool book.
Back to triggers and things like that,
Yeah.
I find it really, I've done lots of personal development kind of stuff, and I actually find it's really important to do that sort of stuff together. because you may take those, you read those books,
Yeah.
take those courses, and you grow and learn as a person, but they're kind of stuck behind and they don't have the same experiences as you. So just I think doing that experiences together is really important, because then you can talk about those together. It's really hard when that person has no idea what you're talking about and you want to implement it into your relationship and you can't, because they're like, what the heck are you talking about?
Right. When I work with couples, it's really cool because they both have an understanding not only of their traumas and emotional pain, but their partners.
Right.
So then they can, be so much more compassionate and
Yes.
understanding and supportive when they're communicating about everything that's going on for them. It's great when you're working through all of those things together. Definitely, I would definitely agree with that.
Good to know.
So, one more question and then we are going to wrap it up. But before we do, this is your last chance for the live to enter this contest to win this wedding emergency kit. It's our wedding rescue kit. And it has everything you need on your wedding day, like what's in it? Lots of stuff.
Lots of stuff. Sewing kit, buttons, band-aids.
Anything
Tape,
you might need.
double-sided tape, anything, a stapler, a very small stapler, anything you could need.
Yeah. And we also have a giveaway for a honeymoon or vacation. Yeah. So all you have to do is share this video and comment done to be entered. So, I see new people. Oh, hi, everybody. Anyways, okay, last question that we have. We're going to go to the email. Somebody emailed in. Her name is, let's see, Rachel. Let's see. Oh, this is great. We were just talking about honeymoons. That's so funny. So we're going to end on the honeymoon stage. So that's funny. Okay, what can a new couple do to make sure the honeymoon phase never ends after their wedding?
Okay, I love this question because so many people expect that the honeymoon should end. And I don't believe in that. I believe that if you're constantly working at the relationship, at communication, because I work with couples, they've come to me years of resentments, years of issues that have never been resolved. And I always kind of describe it as, if you have every resentment, if you can imagine, is like a rock that it turns into a brick wall between you and your partner, and it really prevents that flow of love between the two of you. So if you can make sure that every resentment is looked at and addressed and all your feelings are communicated, and so you're not having any residual kind of hurt feelings, then that really keeps that emotional connection and that closeness. And I think, my partner and I, we do it all the time. It's like if there's something to, I don't always think that he likes that I share this part, but we know that our issue is resolved when we want to be intimate again. Yeah. So if we're not feeling that close, then it's an indicator to me, we've got more to work out. And I think if you keep that connection by dealing with the issues, by addressing those hurt feelings and the resentments, you're going to feel close to that person. And I think choosing love every day, choosing to look for the positives look at the positives in our partner and really feel appreciation for them, because it's just as easy to focus on the negatives and you'll notice that emotions follow thoughts. So if you're thinking positive thoughts about your partner, you're going to feel good feelings about your partner. If you're thinking negative thoughts, you're going to feel negative. So always choosing love, choosing the relationship, and doing your best to communicate through all the issues so there's no resentments, to keep that love flowing from now till forever.
Oh, I love that.
I think it's very, well, I don't know what the word is. It's it's not very smart for people to think that people never change. I mean, we're always learning and we're always growing. And I don't think that the person that you married or that you met the first, your first date is going to be the same person, 80 years down the road. Everybody's learning. You're always growing. And the important thing is to grow with that person.
And to love and accept them. Unconditional love is about accepting your partner and yourself with flaws and all, right? So that's a very key point to making a relationship work, I think.
Yeah. So I just want to say there's a couple more. I see, Carrie says hi. Katie says hi. Jamie says great advice.
Thank you.
Oh, and Lindsay says hi. We know Lindsay. Okay, so before we go, I just want to say one more time that we're giving this away, our emergency kit, and we're also giving away a honeymoon or vacation. So all you have to do is share the video and comment done. And this has been really awesome.
Yeah.
If you want to join us, again, we hold a weekly, what do you call this, Facebook Lives? Events every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
We plan on tackling all different kinds of
Yeah.
questions, from obviously relationship advice to planning your wedding and different things that come up. Obviously, planning your wedding. We plan to have different vendors on the show as well. So florists, photographers, that type of thing, to be here to answer any of your questions as well.
Yeah. So if you guys have any suggestions, anything you guys want to see, I think. A week from now, I think we're having a florist come on. I think that's what it was. I can't remember. So if you guys have any questions for your flowers, like we've heard, how long should you have, or how far in advance should you book your florist, right? And all sorts of things. So just comment below, so we can get an idea of what kind of questions you want. Also comment about who you want to see. If you want to have, I don't know, maybe we have a limo driver come in or something. I don't know, whatever you guys want.
Well, we just wanted to thank you, Joyce, so much for being here with us today and for answering our questions. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me. I really enjoyed it. It was fun.
Awesome. And so for everyone, when you get a chance, check out weddingrescue.com, and hopefully if you have any issues this summer with your wedding, you will know who to call.
Yeah, what's our number? We have a hotline number.
1-844-WED-9111. So
say it again.
1-844-WED-9111.
Sing it this time.
You can sing it. So ladies, couples, if you need us, you know where to find us. Give us a call and we can fix it.
Awesome. Okay.
So thanks everyone. Have a nice night. Bye.
Oh, we have to shut this off.